Julie Anything March edition. Julie was generous enough to give her time this evening to take your questions live. As always, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And if you're already part of our adored community, we're glad you made it. And you probably already know the drill. We'll do chat in the bottom here of the meeting. And if you have questions for Julie, please do me a favor and add them to the Q&A tab. You can find that at the bottom of the meeting as well. I'm so glad everyone was able to join us. Welcome, spring. Julie, anything you have to add? Anything you wanna mention?
Once I get rid of this chocolate in my mouth.
Oh, here, I'll be your sidekick.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I always try to ask everyone in the chat, if you don't mind, before we get started and while everyone joins us, something that you're grateful for today, or this week, or this month, or this year. It's just nice to read.
Yeah, I know you always do that you do that almost every session, don't you?
I've been kind of trying to remember to do it. I just think I don't know, it's nice to share those kinds of things.
I'm grateful that my kitty, I missed it. Safety of my home. Yeah, really, So Stephanie and I were just talking about everything that's going on in the world right now. And I definitely don't want to be a Debbie Downer, that's for sure. But it's been really, there's so many wars and there's so much that goes on, and we're so removed, we're so really removed from it. And I'm having an experience now with a couple that I know actually in the Ukraine. And it is unbelievable. Like we don't even have a clue what they're going through. She's expecting her first baby in 3 weeks, and showed pictures of what her hospital was going to be like, which was an underground parking lot with no ventilation, no anything. Today they were saying that they had to go out and scavenge for food because there's getting to be no food. There's no medical supplies, nothing. So I feel like every morning I have a grateful book. My best friend Andrea bought me this beautiful journal, and before I do anything, get up, go pee, do anything, I sit up and my book's right there, and I write everything that I'm grateful for before I wake up enough to be like, this isn't working out or that's working out. So it's like the second I wake up, it's like right there, and I do it right away. And I find it really helpful. But I feel like everything that I mean, obviously our animals' health and our family's health and things are vital and really close to our heart. But the little things that we worry about, or the little things that we get stressed about, it's just so trivial in comparison to and how sheltered I've felt, like I'm at an age where I would think that, maybe I would have had some kind of personal, other than my dad was in the war, my grandfather and my grandma, my grandpa, they actually fled the Hitler when my mom was just really young, from Germany and Yugoslavia. And I used to, as a kid, I used to hear stories, and my great uncle was in a Russian concentration camp, and I'm just gonna tell you this story because it's just, I'll just do it really, really fast. But my grandma and her husband, my grandfather and my mom, they came over here, and then once they got to Canada, they started putting things together to bring their family over. And my grandmother's brother, my great uncle, was in the war and was captured by the Russian army and put in a concentration camp. And his wife, my mom was too little. My grandmother got her over and with her two children. And by the time they got over here, because they've come by boat and, you know, it was really hard to get them over here. And they got off in the Toronto train station. And my grandpa and my grandma and my mom, the little baby mom, was waiting for my aunt and her two children at the train station. And my aunt got off the train from, I don't know where the ships came in from, Germany, but my aunt got off the train with her two children. And at the train station, my grandmother heard something, and she swore it was her brother, who was supposed to be in this was in this Russian concentration camp. And he didn't know where my grandma was. He didn't know where his wife was. He didn't know where anyone was. But anyways, he wound up getting out, escaping from this thing. And they wound up coming off the same train in Toronto station. And they met on the train station and had no idea where anyone was in the entire world. And they wound up, and I used to hear this and think it was amazing as a kid. But now when all of this is happening and I see and know someone who's going to be separated from their family and, you know, not knowing whether they can get into Turkey or Poland or like wherever, or even if they can even get there, because they're only allowed 10 liters of gas. And there's all these looters and murderers along the path when you run out of gas. It's just beyond imaginable. So my point is tonight that I know that like I always tell you how grateful that I am that I have my Adored Beast followers and supporters and stuff. But, you know, when I think about what's going on in the world and what I'm trying to do just as a little teeny itsy bitsy piece of the planet, there's so much of it that it's important to me before I die that I can help the planet, right? Like, I mean, everybody knows that I'm doing my huge shift is to protect dogs and cats and women, which is always, it's just in my DNA, but is to really try and protect our wildlife and our planet and our oceans and our forests and stuff. So I couldn't do that. I don't feel like I could make a difference in the world and I think we will. I really do. I think with your support and Adored Beast that we will be able to make, like, you know, my research will come out and things are shifting. It's already happening and we really will make a difference in the world. But I couldn't do that without your support. So thank you. And I just want to, you know, hope that everybody finds something to be grateful for today and every morning. And yeah, so anyways, we can start asking questions. It's sad. It's so sad for those people, but I feel like, and I'm just saying, you know, I see people saying it's so sad. It is so sad. But I think we just need to, everyone needs to shift gears in what we're doing. Like, what are we doing on this planet? Like, what are we doing that we're destroying things like Russia's destroying them? Like, what's our contribution to consume and negate and not look and be, just because we're super powerful, we're a super powerful company and not company, a super powerful country and the US and stuff. Like, what are we doing that we're taking advantage of so many things, right? Taking advantage of things that are smaller than us and aren't equipped to fight us, like animals and wildlife in the ocean. We're just moving in and destroying them, right? So I think right now in the world, we're just really, really in a place that we don't need to be sad and we don't need to be depressed. We need to rally together and make a big, massive shift in just consciousness, like global consciousness on every level. So, all right. So don't be sad and just like I saw someone say that they're going to pray, and that's awesome because that is, I think, about the best thing that we can do. You know, it is the best thing we can do, right? Is we can just band together and create a shift in consciousness of being aware and being kind instead of powerful.
Like you said, yeah, be positive. Try and look on the positive side.
Yep. With that, just, bring that consciousness of awareness. It's the best thing that we can do. Right. So we're going to ask questions tonight instead of yapping about anything specific.
Let's help some adored beasts.
Yes.
Robin. Okay, I'm sure Robin was on your kitty hyperthyroid, hypothyroid seminar. I'm sure she was.
Yep.
And she's got a question here. Would you start the thyroid remedy protocol on a cat with a T4 of 3.8 or clearly wait if and when they are hyperthyroid?
No, well, that would depend on what their kidney values are too, right? So if the kidney values are, if it's going up, if it's high level of normal, kidneys are good. Yeah, if it's high level normal, I would definitely look at starting the protocol because you don't want to wait. It's always better to get ahead of things, right? To wind up getting ahead. In a case like that, I might do, how we talked about NAP-MIR. I might just start with NAP-MIR instead of the actual thyroid remedies because NAP-MIR is a more constitutional cat case that and remedy that sort of focuses on the thyroid in general. So I would start with NAP-MIR, and then I would recheck her blood and maybe 3 months and see where she's at, see if it's going up or if it's maintaining, then and she's good in herself. And her other levels are staying within range, then I would just keep doing that.
Thanks, Julie.
I think she's
daily.
No, I can't remember what my protocol was, but I think it was NAP-MIR weekly, wasn't it?
Robin, why don't you tag me in the community?
Oh wait, hold on. She wrote something. No, I can't see it.
200 3 times a week or daily. I think she's
asking. She's asking three doses once a week or daily. Is that what she's asking?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's what we would do. That's called a divided dose. So a divided dose is giving it like bedtime, morning, bedtime is what I do, and then repeating that once a week. With one that's with a cat that was doing really well, I might do that every second week and then retest her blood in 3 months. That would be the protocol. If it was already high, right, but just high, but over the marker of being high instead of under, then I would be doing it probably every week. But if she's in that range where she's going up but she's not over, you could try it every 2 weeks.
Thanks, Julie. And Robin, okay, she got it. Good. And hey, tag me in the community if you want those. The slides are available. Okay, Tian. Hello, Julie. Thank you for amazing products. My question is about interactions between Yeasty Beast Protocol and antibiotics. My dog is on her 4th week of the Yeasty Beast Protocol. It's amazing. No more cheesy smell in her paws. Her ear is the problem. She has struggled with an ear infection, only her left ear, and now is on an antibiotic drop, yeast and bacteria issues from scratching. I noted a big drop in her energy level while on antibiotics and Yeasty Beast together, liver tonic and Yeasty Beast 2 probiotic only at this point. Much increased drinking and smaller infrequent bowel movements. What are your thoughts? How can I help her through the antibiotics and afterwards?
That's odd. Because if it's an ear, she's doing it in her ear, right? So it's antibiotic drops. So in her ear, I would imagine she's saying, right? Like ear drops.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
In the chat.
Okay. That is kind of odd that's happening. You know, that she's getting these kind of symptoms or things going on with her. I can't imagine that it's the Yeasty Beast with that. But if you're worried about it, I don't know how long she's on the antibiotics for, but if you're worried about it, it's pretty easy. Just take her off of the Yeasty Beast Protocol, put her on Phyto's Flora, maybe Phyto's Flora or Gut Soothe. Definitely keep her on the liver tonic. But if you're concerned that it might be something because she's on that as well, then I would just take her off the Yeasty Beast Protocol until she's finished her eardrops. But did you say that, hold on, where it said, I've noted a drop in her energy while on antibiotics and Yeasty Beast together, liver tonic and Yeasty Beast 2 probiotic?
At this point.
Okay, at this point. Probiotic? Yeasty Beast doesn't have probiotic.
Do you mean the powder, Tian?
Yes, powder. Okay, the Yeasty Beast 2. Okay, so what I would do is I don't know if you have Phyto's Flora, but Phyto's Flora is a really good one to go on when they're on antibiotics, because the particular probiotic in that helps with the majority of antibiotic resistance. So that would be something that I would do, because you are someone just wrote Phyto's Flora is great for your ears. I would do that. I would stop the Yeasty Beast, put her on Phyto's Flora, continue with the eardrops, then see what she's like when the eardrops are over, and maybe 2 to 3 weeks after the Phyto's Flora. Then I would stop the Phyto's Flora, go back to the Yeasty Beast Protocol. And if she gets another yeast thing, talk to your vet or go on Dr. Judy Morgan's page, and she has something called Zymox ear enzyme. And it is phenomenal for yeasty ears or infected ears. It's incredible. It's the best thing I've ever seen. At our clinic, I used it all the time, and I got much better results than any kind of medical, like pharmaceutical ear treatment.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. Okie dokie, Mirsal. She's got a huge dilemma and wants to do right by her 11-year-old little terrier mix. During an ultrasound last month to monitor her liver nodules, they found in her stomach a small area of focal thickening of muscularis layer. They said it could be secondary to gastritis, which she had a few days prior to the ultrasound, but it's concerning for neoplasia.
Adenocarcinoma, I can't read that. Oh, yeah. Okay. So lymphoma. She's scheduled for follow-up ultrasound with possible aspirations tomorrow, which I canceled today. Can you move that stuff so I can keep reading it? Where is it? Where did it go? Okay. My logic, I don't want to aggravate the cells if it's cancer. Will not put her through chemo, radiation, and surgery, considering her age. Those cancers having good prognosis. Are people can see this or can't see this?
No, they can't see the Q&A.
Because they're probably not even knowing what I'm asking.
Well, I can copy and paste it.
Yeah, I would, because this is a big one. It's a big question, a lot of people are probably not knowing what I'm even saying. So my logic is I don't want to be aggressive cells, will not put her through chemo, radiation, or surgery considering her age. And those cancers not having a good prognosis anyways. I want to support her immune system and have her live her golden years as healthy and pain-free for as long as possible. What has been your experience with these types of cancers, aspirations? What would you recommend to support her? She's on gut soothe, gut seal, turkey tail. Is there more there, Steph?
No.
Okay. So I obviously legally can't tell you what I would do. I think what you are doing is amazing. And if that was my dog, I would be doing exactly what you're doing. And if this was going on in my clinic, that's the first thing that I would say is, with those aspirations, with that diagnosis, are you going to do chemotherapy? Are you going to do radical surgery? Are you going to do radiation? Are you going to do, intensive drugs? And if the answer is no, then I think you're spot on by not putting your dog through that intensive diagnostics, because you're right. Anytime you put a needle in anything that is cancerous, inflamed, not just cancer, but anything that's aggravated, angry, whatever, you just make it angry, or you make it more inflamed, you traumatize the cells. And then, there are people, lots of veterinarians and doctors that subscribe to the thought that when it goes in the cancer and then the needle is pulled out, there are chances that it will metastasize through the blood system. So through all the small capillaries and things. So I think you're very astute and that you've thought about this. And I think I would support your decision for sure. So my experience with this is gut soothe is great, because if there's inflammation in the mucosal lining, if there's inflammation anywhere in the gut at all, gut soothe is really helpful with that because of the NAG, which is N-acetylglucosamine, along with everything else like L-glutamine and slippery elm and all of that and all the probiotics. But like especially with NAG in it. And gut seal, that's a good one too, because it's got arnica in it and it's got calendula, which is super soothing. 100% turkey tail. The only one I would add, if your dog is still eating well, I would add liver tonic, and I would add Phyto Synergy. And liver tonic is because when you're dealing with cancer, you really, really, really want to make sure that if the cancer cells start to die, that you are supporting the liver when they die. And the other thing that you wanted to look at is there's lots and lots of studies with Phyto Synergy with inflammatory bowel disease. And when you are looking at anything that has, that's why it's so good in trauma, any kind of trauma to the gut lining. And when you say they saw thickening and they think it was like a colitis. So anytime you hear an itis, there's infection or inflammation. So when you think of it, irritable bowel syndrome, there is so much thickening and so much scarring and so much chronic inflammation. And because of the cell-to-cell antioxidant from the superoxide dismutase in there, and its ability to be absorbed without having to go through the GI tract, it is phenomenally helpful in any kind of situation like this. So to bring down inflammation, to feed the cells, to do all kinds of stuff. So those would be the only two things. And the last thing I would be seriously thinking about is contacting my friend, my colleague, Andrea Ring, because she is an incredible homeopath. And can think of like 4 remedies off the top of my head right now that would be very helpful for your dog.
I'll put Andrea's website in the chat for everyone. And there's a question here from Ellen that I'll also put in the chat. Her 3-year-old pit bull has Giardia.
Giardia.
Potentially picked up at the park, was positive for eggs and antigen. We're planning to use Paravac from Eagle Peak Herbals for 2 weeks, then 1 week off, then 1 more week. She's taking Clavamox now for a skin infection. We don't want to overwhelm her system, but we need to treat the parasite. We give Phytophthora midday in between.
Up so I can read it. Sorry. Oh no, I can do that. Sorry, I'll be all right.
Okay.
Okay, go.
So they're giving Phytophthora midday between doses. Any advice on the Giardia? Anything else that we could do, or thoughts on the ingredients below? Her appetite's been low. Poops are improved, but still loose.
Does it usually clear with natural treatment, or can it be stubborn to get rid of her immune system is already compromised with many infections, antibiotics? But this is the first intestinal parasite infection she's had. And should we keep her completely away from other dogs for mouth treatment or on leash? Okay, we stand over here and make sure there's no butt sniffing, spinning around, or allowing other dogs to interact. Ingredients in the Parvac, wild and organic black walnut. I would be really, I don't know who makes that, and it sounds like a wonderful anti-parasitic, but and Giardia is a parasite, but it's more of a protozoa, which is it's different, right? So it's like beaver fever. That's its common name. So I would be careful. I would be careful using anything intense like that until she's a lot better. And also black walnut, green hulls, wormwood, like wormwood leaf is great, or Oregon grapefruit. Like those are some really, really good ones. But whoever makes that, I would corn and cane alcohol. It could be I would call the company and I would tell them all the things that you just wrote to me. So she's got a compromised immune system. She's already on the antibiotics. There's a lot of stuff going on with your dog right now. So first thing for me is I never blast away. My clinic was really well known to be very comprehensive in our approach, where if we had to meet something head on, we would, like, let's say an animal comes in and they're on, antibiotics, they're on like a steroid, they're on a million different things, ketoconazole, stuffer yeast, the whole 9 yards, and they're really sick and their immune system is really low, then we wouldn't try to blast the yeast. We wouldn't try to get rid of that infection right away. We would start to build at the same time as we're decreasing and increasing. So with Giardia, it's interesting because Giardia usually affects dogs that do have a lower immune system, right? And that's why they're already compromised. So the parasite or the protozoa is in a prime condition. Gut health would be absolutely one of the most crucial things for this. Making sure, so she's on Phytophthora, that's really good. But you want to treat this like we looked at it at the clinic, almost like malaria. And we had really specific remedies for it. So again, I hate saying this all the time. If it's gut health, if it's gut related, you want to do a really good, Phytophthora is fine. Liver tonic is still really, really important because you've got to support her liver when she's having chemicals and the toxicity from the parasite. And then I would absolutely do something like Phyto Synergy, because again, when she's got that going on in her gut, her ability to absorb her nutrition is going to be compromised. So you want to make sure that you're feeding her what is the most bioavailable that will support her immune system the quickest without creating a detoxification. That's what I would ask those people. I would call them up and I would say, do you see very many detoxes? Because what the shape your dog is in right now, you would not want to add her going through a detox. That, to me, that wouldn't be the best idea in the world. I would support her gut. I'd support her liver. I'd give her as best nutrition as I possibly can. And it's fun. It's interesting that they didn't put her on Flagyl, because that's usually the antibiotic that they give for Giardia. That is what I've always known. Maybe they're thinking something else, or maybe the antibiotic that she's on already isn't for the Giardia. It was for her Staphylococcus infection. I don't know. There's a lot going on with her, but I would be careful of overdoing anything from an anti-parasitic and creating a detox. Doing that later on, once she's a lot stronger and less compromised, then it would be a great idea. But I would call Andrea, my friend Andrea, and we had a protocol at our clinic for Giardia that worked really, 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 really well. So support her, get her immune system up so that her body can actually fight the Giardia itself. Make sure that you're repopulating, and Phytophthora is a perfect one because it's those two strains are not antibiotic resistant. So you're on the right track for sure. Just ask that company if they've ever seen anything that, like any kind of a detoxification, because the ingredients that they're using are great. I don't know how much, like what potency, or not potency, what milligrams and stuff they are, but wormwood and walnut hulls and clove and like barks and stuff can really implode, can really kill parasites big time. But then with the death of the parasites, they can have such a bad aggravation that you're not going to know whether it's the Giardia coming back and she's got explosive diarrhea, or it's the detox, and that could get you in a real pickle.
Thank you, Julie. Super helpful. Much appreciated on that one. Ellen, best wishes. Diane, 13-year-old pug with bladder stones. Vet has her on a prescription diet. Please help. She's had numerous UTI infections and been given lots of antibiotics.
Okay. So bladder stones or crystals, because they're different, right? Pug. So I don't know if they're oscillate or they're actually sturvites. They're different kinds of stones, but in any case, I would stick her on easy peasy, 100 million% on easy peasy. And the thing with easy peasy is it doesn't really differentiate between sturvites or oxalates. When it comes to diet, that's when you have to find out. So I would personally get a hold of a nutritionist that can help you navigate your dog's pH through her food rather than giving a prescription diet. Definitely not going to tell you just go out and buy raw food, because you want to make sure that if it's oxalate, that you're not feeding certain proteins and certain vegetables and fruits that would create oxalates. So that's a big important thing. So whether you're on a prescription diet or you're on homemade raw or homemade cook from a nutritionist that knows what they're talking about when it comes to stones, you can definitely use Easy Peasy, because it really, really, really helps with UTIs, like really helps to prevent them. And the homeopathic remedy is specifically to help derail and help dissolve stones and crystals. If they're really, really big, you're in a different, if they're crystals, we've had incredible results with crystals. If they're big oxalate stones, then that takes a while, and you want to make sure that she doesn't get a blockage or anything. But to prevent her from getting UTIs with those stones, because she's going to be super susceptible when she has stones in her bladder, she will be susceptible to them. It can help a lot.
We're using it with really great success at my house right now for our kitty. She's been great. Energy's back, appetite. It's really incredible. It's a great formula.
Yeah.
Suzanne, any comments if giving methimazole, excuse my...
Where are you?
Just at the top of the Q&A, is dangerous for a 15-year-old cat with hyperthyroidism?
Oh, here we go. Any comments of giving methimazole to a 15-year-old cat? Wow, I'm the last person to talk about that right now, because I honestly don't know. I feel like thyroid kitties are so fragile, like really, really, really fragile. And I don't know where you live, or if you have a way of getting a hold of a holistic vet that you can work with, because when your cat's 15 and it's hyperthyroid, you walk that, you're starting that walk or that path of making sure that she can maintain her homeostasis. And that homeostasis really, really ebbs and falls. Like, you can look at things like dementia or geriatric cognitive disorder. You can look at high blood pressure. There's lots of things that can happen that I would personally be making sure that you're working with a holistic vet, that you can get as much advice, and she can take you off of drugs and put you on a different kind of drug, or recommend a drug, because if you're going to do drugs, you need to be able to work, like your vet needs to be open to suggestions of somebody else, right? And often that person probably should be a vet.
Thank you, Julie.
And the reason that I'm saying that is, this is the other thing. I feel like I'm such a Debbie Downer tonight. I don't mean to be at all. But I think the reason that I'm saying all of this is because from, I do that. Are you vet ready? Are you this? Are you that? And come on, everybody, and, get empowered. And, and I think that sometimes people think, for me, I have all this power and stuff. And I did. When I had my vet clinic, nothing happened to any of my animals without me being like a helicopter mom, right? Like, it was just, I knew every single solitary thing that was happening with everybody. And since I moved, it's been a very different experience for me out here. It's been super frustrating and really, really scary. And I've had to like butt heads and come up against things that I just never in a million years thought that would be happening to me. So a lot of times right now, I'm in the same position as you guys, right? I'm in that, and I'm not in the driver's seat. I do work with some vets that are really, really great with me, and will allow me to sort of make all the calls and whatever. But I didn't want I have like a little love of my life, my cat. Her name is Footy, and she needed her dental, and she's 16 and she's hyperthyroid and she has renal disease. And I rescued her. She was hit by a car and had major, right in front of me, and had major head trauma. Like we're talking major head trauma. Everyone was telling me to euthanize her. And I didn't. And she's been incredible, but she's had some really weird things come up as she got older. Anyways, I wound up going, and they used everything. They used the pre-anesthetic I want, they used the anesthetic I want, they did basically everything that I asked them to do, but they didn't have a Doppler monitor, and they monitored her blood pressure by like her heart rate and blood pressure with a technician there. And she came home and she recovered from her teeth really well. Like, you know, I have a protocol for surgery and stuff, and she made it through the surgery just fine. And then within 3 days, she was blind, completely blind. And now in the last 2 days, she's gone totally deaf. So I gave them a call and asked to see her records, her surgical records. And the only thing I can think of is that her blood pressure went too low and she had hypoxia, so she didn't get enough oxygen to her brain. So this is the love of my life, living with someone that sits and talks in front of all you guys and tries to navigate things. And I think the reason that I'm telling you this is because no matter how hard you try, just sometimes things happen that are out of your control. I mean, they weren't going to let me stand there in surgery and monitor her myself, because if they had of, I would have. But I couldn't, and you know, you guys can't either. So it's a big lesson for me in realizing that sometimes I just can't control everything when I want to. And also now really getting creative of how I can interact with her. And the saddest thing is that she is a purr. Like you just touch her and she starts to purr. And she hasn't purred in 3 weeks, I guess. And it's almost like I look at her and it's like she feels like I feel like she feels like she's underground, right? Because she can't hear and she can't see. So she's in this vacuum. So I've had to get creative to figure out how to communicate with her, right? So I'm putting her on my chest and I'm letting her feel my heart, and I'm holding on to her and trying to get all my pheromones, because she still has scent. So I'm putting her in places that she can smell me. And when I come up to her, I slide my hand under her instead of putting my hand on top of her. So it's really slowed me down to go, okay, how do I start reconnecting with her again? And then the last 2 days she started purring again. So, I mean, she started doing this first before she was purring, so that I could tell I was actually like being able to talk to her. And then, yeah, the last 2 days she started to purr.
Oh, thank God.
So anyways, when I sit there and I when I try and help you guys, you know, lots is going on. I empathize so much. That's why I think I want to try and help so much, just because, well, I want to help anyways, but just so that you don't think that, you know, I'm out here and I'm not going through, you know, stuff like I had a horse that just lost his eye, and I had a rooster that just died, and I couldn't find anyone to help. And the vet tech that works for me, that's amazing. And I found this really wonderful vet, and we drove him an hour and a half away, and the 3 of us were doing surgery on my rooster. And he was doing so well, and then he wound up dying in my arms. So it was just had like a really insane couple weeks. And you know, the reason I'm saying that is that no matter what happens with the dog, with all of these questions, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, our animals know our intention. They feel intention. People don't really feel intention. I can verbalize my intention to you, but it's hard to feel what my intention is, you know? Animals know our intention. They know that even if we're screwing up, our intention is that we love them so much that we want to do everything not to screw up. So anyways, I don't even know why I started talking about that, but it was oh, the 15-year-old cat with hyperthyroid. So the reason that I'm telling you that is that if this was me right now, I would be really, really working with a veterinarian that has a little bit more knowledge about how to derail stuff with thyroid before it happens.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. It just is, it's nice to know that as terrible as it is, you're going through the same stuff we are.
When you have 40 animals, that tends to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but no one is perfect. There's no such thing as perfection in life, right? We all just have to do our best and slow down. And like the woman was saying, like, I don't want to have aspirates. Well, thank goodness, right? She's stepping back. She's looking, and she's not making decisions from the fear of losing her dog. Right. She's making decisions based on what she in her heart believes is the best for her dog, to give her dog the best quality of life.
Right.
And we all tend to make fast decisions based on the fear that our dogs are going to die, or our cats are going to die, or, or we don't want to lose them. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do without my dog? Or what am I going to do without my cat or my horse or my chicken or whatever? We're making our decisions based on that instead of what is the best. What kind of life do I want my beloved animal to have? So anyways,
so speaking of kitties, I've got another question here about one. It's feline hyperesthesia syndrome. What are your thoughts on it? Any idea, any possible causes, or how I can support my cat naturally that is suffering from it?
Yes, lots. Remember the cat I talked about? She has that.
Footy?
Yeah. It's been a long haul with her, and lots. I've delved so much into that. Peter's on here too, and we talk about we've talked about when they don't produce enough cortisone in their bodies, hormone deficiencies, head traumas, pituitary stuff, stress, like a PTSD. There's so many different hypotheses of what it can be caused from. And that's why homeopathy works so amazing in it, because it really doesn't matter what's causing it. It matters how it is, how your animal or your cat is showing its symptoms. So, many people, many animals have arthritis. So, okay, well, doesn't really matter why you have the arthritis. Sure, if you're eating a bunch of sugar, they're going to say take away the sugar, blah, blah, blah. But with 1,000 different bodies having arthritis, that in that 1,000 bodies, there's definitely specifics that make the arthritis better, same, worse. And we don't really need to have a reason for it, but we need to have clear symptoms. So with your cat, a homeopath will ask you what makes it worse, what makes it better. What helped for me was keeping a journal with her so that I could see if it happened on certain days, and it would get worse when there was more chaos going on in the house. Like when we had building. So when stuff like that, when building construction was happening in the house, it was worse. And I think that it might have been a combination of dust, a combination of her stress levels. What did help her with that was CBD oil. CBD oil did help, and a homeopathic remedy. But you really need to, like, I used to use for that. I used to use a remedy called anacardium, and I had some really good success stories on using anacardium in my practice. But it's not for every single cat. So again, I would call Andrea, and I would feed your cat that have things that have an affinity with the nervous system. So like our algae oil, like our turkey tail, things that, things that support the nervous system, the brain, right? Supporting the brain, which again is turkey tail and our algae oil. So, and, thinking if she ever had past trauma, or he or she ever had past trauma in her life, and then homeopathy can help address that. So can CBD oil, making sure her gut is healthy. So, getting her on the feline gut soothe could help with that as well, if there's triggers. Those are all things that help Footy.
It's a good place to start, that's for sure. And I put Andrea's website there in the chat for everyone that would like to chat with her. Kathy, my 10-year-old kitty wakes me up 3 or 4 times a night asking for food. I give her a meal before we go to sleep around 11. She starts meowing and carrying on as early as 2:30, and again a few hours later. It goes on and on. Do you have any suggestions to break this cycle?
Get her blood tested. That's a symptom of hyperthyroidism. It can also be a symptom of IBD can give that symptom. Boredom. Are you working more? Are you out more now? She says not hyper. So, a lot of times that can be boredom, or if she's getting stomach pain, right? So if she's all of a sudden getting like a gastritis, that she needs to eat, or an acid, right, where she's feeling like she needs to eat, it could be that. So I would be looking at really good probiotics. I would be looking at giving her something again for her brain. So kitties are nocturnal. They that's when they run around the most. I have a rescue kitty in my bathroom right now that is getting healthier and healthier every single day, and I'm getting more tired and more tired every single day, because my bathroom's right beside my bedroom, and it sounds like she's moving furniture in there because I have all stuff all over her. And so kitties are nocturnal. So maybe she's bored. Try maybe doing more with her during the day. Go online and see, what's that guy's name? He's so great.
Jackson Galaxy
videos. Maybe do some mind stuff with her so that she's a little more tired at night again. But also kitties can get geriatric cognitive disorder, which is like a little bit of an Alzheimer-y.
We had one with that.
And that's quite common. High blood pressure can cause that. Diabetes can cause it, but it sounds like you've done blood work. So if all of her blood work looks great, I would be addressing her nervous system, her gut, because we know that Alzheimer's, dementia, and cognitive disorders come from the gut, from not having the correct microbiota in the gut. So I would be doing that. And I don't want to say it again for all you kitty people. Sounds like there's lots of kitty people out there tonight, but hopefully very, very soon we're coming out with our kitty probiotic that's specifically for cats, like our Phytosflora is for dogs. So we'll have to keep you posted on that. But yeah, I would try making sure that you're supporting her brain with like our algae oil, making sure that you're supporting her gut with our feline gut soothe. I would do lots and lots of play with her, so see if she's bored at night. And if it's a gastro thing, if she is getting sort of indigestion at night where she feels like she has to eat, the feline gut soothe could really help that, because it's one of the best things for any kind of acidity in the gut.
Perfect. Thank you. And just one more time, Jackson Galaxy has a lot of great resources. You can Google him. And the two crazy cat ladies are also top notch. Here's a question from...
we all get dementia if we stop using our brains, right? Cats are really, really smart, and they're not played with enough. They're not engaged enough, and they're not, you know, like with dogs, we take them out, they can sniff different things. They get a lot of stimulus, right? Whereas cats, I think that's why cats get geriatric dementia sooner than dogs, or more often than dogs, because I don't think that we keep their brains engaged as much as we should.
Yeah. Peter, hi Julie, I'm feeding BJ's raw whole ground rabbit with fur, some green juju, a sardine, which I'm going to replace with potency soon, and some raw goat's milk or bone broth, sometimes a mix of both, plus phytoplankton. I'm winging it. Do you feel like this is sufficient? I'm a lot better than what I was doing, but I also get worried that maybe I'm missing an important nutrient. I'm also adding turkey tail and chaga, and he is on the relief protocol.
Oh, okay. So he's itchy. Must be itchy, eh? Obviously, if he's on the relief protocol.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. That's good, but he was, I guess. Well, Billy and I are going to be doing some lecturing around this, and I think if you're using the green juju, are you using? You can say it in the chat, Peter. The green juju that you're using, are they? Are you like rotating them? And
he's rotating all three of them.
Okay, that's good. Honestly, I think you're good. I can't say 100%, but anything whole and ground, it to me is more species oriented than anything else. So yeah, I think you're definitely on the right track, especially when I said, is he itchy? And you said not anymore. Sure, Adored Beast is I'm sure has contributed to that a lot. But if you were really on like off the mark with your food, I don't think you would be seeing the results. So I think you're doing a really good job. I think that sounds great.
Perfect. Alrighty.
He has a couple yeast specks. What's he saying?
Yeast specks on his belly, but I can't tell if his ears still smell. Does yeast ever go away completely?
It can. Takes a long time though. But if you need to really do something with his ears, if his ears aren't smelling, that's good. Yeah. Is that what that says? That says his ears doesn't smell?
Yeah, his ears. I can't even tell if his ears smell, he says.
I can't even tell if his ears smell. Well, if he's not scratching them and they don't look red, probably chances are that it's going away. And when it comes to yeast, the turtle wins the race, man. It's true. Slow and steady. You try to blast that thing out of the water and you just talk about detox. It's ugly.
Yeah.
And it just looks like they're getting sicker. Just like I was talking to her about Giardia. When you detox from anything, a lot of the times what happens is the symptoms in which you're detoxing from look like they're getting worse. It's an exacerbation of the symptoms that you're trying to eradicate, and they can get a lot worse. So you really, really need to take it slow if you can, slow and steady, Peter, which is what you're doing, which is awesome. That's where you're going to get the best benefit.
Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Peter. Diana, I'm going to start your relief protocol soon. I'm wondering if it's okay to mix your liquid products into foods, or is it best to syringe them into the mouth?
liquid product she's probably talking about, well, turkey tail and liver tonic can easily go in food, no problem. The homeopathics, they can go in food too, but it's better if you maybe give them a little bit of food, and then when you're putting the remedy on it, put it around the top, or the top part of the food, so that as soon as it hits their mouth, it's hitting their mucous membranes. So, you know, the closer it can get to the skin of their mouths, the better it's absorbed.
Great. Thank you. That'll be helpful for a ton of people. Stephanie, she's got a pup that will be 6 months next week. He had leaky eyes by 9 weeks. I started him on liver tonic. Then the itching came. He's done 2 rounds of leaky gut. He's been on since 8 weeks. He's also on mushrooms and a few other things. He tested positive for environmental and food allergies in January. He's a constant itchy mess. I don't know what to do for him.
Can you say, Stephanie, are you here in the chat? Can you tell me what kind of dog this is?
GSD, German Shepherd.
Yeah. Okay, well, can you ask her what his poops look like? Or I can ask her what her poops
Let me give Steph the mic here really quick and see if you want to chat with us. Stephanie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. What are his poops like?
His poops are good. He's been on raw since we've had him at 8 weeks. He had 2 bouts of diarrhea during his transition from kibble to cook to raw, and that was it.
Okay. All right. So we're not worried about him having any kind of a enzyme issue. Because that's the first thing I would think about too, is that he's not digesting his food properly. But if his poops are good, I doubt that that's an issue. Mm-hmm. But usually when they are this compromised this early, it means that they were born with a really inadequate gut flora. So not only did he probably have leaky gut, or has leaky gut, or you're working on leaky gut, but he probably doesn't have a very diverse microbiome. He's probably really lacking in that. It's usually the only reason why they get, so when was he first itchy? Young then, right?
Very young. I noticed I asked the breeder to not vaccinate him, and my husband picked him up and the breeder vaccinated him. So immediately, as soon as he got home, I started him on the anti-vax, and within a day or 2, I noticed the leaky eyes, and I kind of went, oh crap, because we've done this before with allergies.
Yeah.
And so I started ordering things, and the itching, we got him in November, and by December, the itching was out of control. The vet was like, no, it's dry skin. And I wanted to test anyways. And he has severe mold allergies to all types of molds, poplar, chicken allergies, just a slew of things.
Okay. All right. So a couple of things. I would, is he on an oil? Is he on an omega oil?
He's on the hemp.
On the hemp. I would put him on the algae oil for sure. Just a lot more omega-3s in it. So put him on the algae oil, and I would put him on Phyto's Flora.
He went really, really itchy on Phyto. I put him back on spirulina. It wasn't as intense for him.
Okay.
Excuse me. We did Phyto Flora.
You did Phyto's Flora, or you did Phyto Synergy?
Phyto Synergy, sorry.
Okay, yeah. No, I would put him on Phyto's Flora.
Oh, he is on that also. He's
good.
Been for 2 weeks.
That's really good, because sometimes it could take 3 months for a dog that has really, really inadequate, which I'm sure he does, really inadequate abilities to have a diverse ecosystem in their gut. So the 2 strains in Phyto's Flora, which are canine strains, that will really, really help. We're also coming out with a new one that, just keep your eye open. I can't even say what it is, we're coming out with a new probiotic and for dogs, and it's really, really exciting. It's probably it's just as exciting as Phytosflora was, but keep your ears open for that, because there's a few different things in that can help with environmental allergies. So I would mushrooms are really good for something called IgAs. And I wouldn't doubt if your dog is compromised in that area with his immune system. So I would try turkey tail on him too.
He's on it.
Oh, good. Okay. Well,
He's on everything.
You're doing all the right things. The only thing that I would add then is I would talk to Andrea. Like, she's gonna kill me, eh? There are remedies, like a remedy that I used to use all the time for environmental allergies was a remedy called carcinosin. And it was pretty incredible. It for specifically for environmental. I found it to be better for environmental than protein sensitivity. But you don't want to fool around with it, because it's a very powerful remedy. But because it's so powerful, it's phenomenal what it can do for allergies, like incredible what it can do for allergies.
And the contact information is somewhere in here.
I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her name was Andrea Ring. She was one of our head homeopaths that are at my clinic. And so she still does all of our protocols and stuff. And there are some really incredible stuff that you can do for environmental allergies.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Don't lose hope. Don't bathe him with a bunch of stuff. If his skin is dry, take the Phytosflora and mix it with yogurt and we have a mask recipe. Do the mask, like if you think that he really needs to be washed, do that mask and don't use soap, and just rinse the mask off, and it really does help to soothe their skin.
Okay. The only that I've been doing is apple cider vinegar and water for him.
Yeah, that's good for yeast, Stephanie, but you have to be careful, because the same way we have protectors in our gut for invaders, our skin has has bacteria that works exactly like probiotics do in our gut. So this bacteria that's on our skin that's the other thing you can do. The bacteria that's on our skin is also our army for invaders and stuff like pollens and pollutions and things. So when you got your allergy test back, did they say anything about human cells?
No.
Like human skin cells?
He was negative for that.
He was? Okay, so that's really good. So everybody in your family needs to take a washcloth. And before you have a shower, you need to rub your body while it's dirty still. And then lie those towels on your dog's bed and where he's lying. Because what you want to do is you want to cross-contaminate and build your dog's skin microbiome to be more diverse. And no matter what anyone says to you, we cross-contaminate with our animals. Our animals give us bacteria, and we give our animals bacteria. When we live in such a close-knit family, we're definitely doing that, and that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So for environmental allergies, you want to make sure that he's only on beds that are like hemp or cotton. They say that anything synthetic can take the pathogenic bacterias or things like pollens and things like that, and it can exponentially make them grow on their bed. And the synthetics will destroy the good guys and enhance the bad guys. Yeah. So that's what I would do. Like every couple days, and whenever you have a shower, just have some towels that you guys can rub some stuff and put it on where he lies so that you can start trying to strengthen the microbiome on his skin.
Okay.
Rub it right on him and
Okay.
Thanks.
Perfect.
Stephanie.
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Sonia here. Oh, Sonia, I'm sorry. We already talked about Giardia. So Sonia probably listened earlier. Lori has a question from one of her from one of our community members. Her kitty was just diagnosed with lymphoma, and she's wondering if we can updose the turkey tail from the suggested serving.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do it gradually, but you can double it.
Awesome. Okay.
And the best thing too is also ask your vet, you know, how many milligrams and stuff that you can use if you're working with your vet, but yes.
Sonia's question on Giardia is different, Julie. She's got a 5-month-old pup, came to us with Giardia.
Wait a second, the woman that's on the, where did that one go? The cat with the, who was it? The cat that had.
Oh, Lori.
Yeah, where did she go?
I'll put it in the chat here.
Okay. Again, lymphoma with cats. Lots and lots you can do for lymphoma. Like I would be using, I know I sound like a broken record, but if she'll eat Phyto Synergy, a big one for that. Definitely the turkey tail. And again, there are specific remedies for lymphoma that work amazing, like really, really, really amazing. So, and if the lymphoma, if they're concerned about her gut, getting her on the feline gut soothe sooner than later to decrease any kind of inflammation in her intestinal lining is very helpful. I know you're putting Andrea's name in there, but
Andrea's going to be calling me tomorrow.
she is, I know.
For anyone that's listening to the recording of this later, Andrea is www.andrearing.ca. Okie doke. Sonia, the 5-month-old puppy with Giardia almost died. Spent a week at Emerge. She's really healthy now. She's been diarrhea free with really good appetite for 2 months. Had her stool tested 3 times, and she was discharged from Emerge. They found cysts in her first stool, but the last stool tested last week had no cysts, but they found giardian DNA. I read that she could test false positive for a very long time. I was wondering what you thought about this, because we have another adult dog. We try to quarantine her, but it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah. So again, strengthening her gut, right? So I would be doing gut soothe. With this dog, I would be doing gut soothe, Phyto Synergy, liver tonic, and Phytosflora. Because when they have Giardia, it can play havoc on the lining of the gut, and you don't want this puppy with long-term gut problems like leaky gut. It's going to help her gut lining have more integrity, so that it can help with invaders and things like that. Phytosflora will help with the fulvic and humic acid, will be very, very helpful with the toxins that Giardia produces. So helping her body detox, because it works almost like a chelation therapy. And it's also really good for the lining. But it's also got those 2 canine strains, because in nature, it wouldn't be natural for coyotes and wolves to get Giardia. And raccoons can be carriers and things like that. But to actually get sick with Giardia, drinking stagnant water, which is where it mostly is. I mean, that's why it's called beaver fever, right? It's because beavers, in stagnant water, the protozoa, the bacteria, is where it forms. If canines were supposed to be susceptible to Giardia, E. coli, Salmonella, Clostridium, we would have no dogs, right? If wolves and coyotes and foxes should be susceptible to these things. A proper canine microbiota, those bacterias should be and do in all of our studies that we've done on our specific species canine bacterias, our probiotics, they have the ability to suppress and combat those pathogens. So when you're thinking of your older dog, I would be having your older dog as a preemptive, trying to help her not get it. I would definitely have her on Phytospora, 1,000,000,000,000,000%. And your young dog, I would have her on the Gut Soothe, Phytospora, and Phyto Synergy. And there is a homeopathic remedy that's called China that is just brilliant in Giardia. But again, I think if people were to call Andrea, and maybe what I'll do, Stephanie, remind me when we're done, I'm going to text Andrea and say there was just a crazy amount of Giardia and kitty cases with, whatever. But with, she might be able to just even recommend a very acute remedy for Giardia, like China, which is what we used a lot of the times, rather than having to go on her waiting list to see her. If somebody was to email her and say that she watched an Ask Me Anything, and that they're struggling with Giardia, she'd probably be able to do that. And liver tonic, anytime there's a parasite and a protozoa, you want to be able to support the liver, because the liver is what is essentially trying to detox all of this stuff.
Thanks, Julie.
You're welcome.
All right, Julie, would you ever recommend taking a break from phytoplankton? Like, say, give it for 3 weeks, take a break for a week?
You're on the wrong person to ask. Oh God. I've been taking Phyto Synergy 3 to 4 times a day for 4 years. But that's because if I don't, I know that I need to. So I'm a really good, I look at Phyto Synergy as food. Saying that, if you have a healthy dog and a healthy cat or a healthy human, there is nothing wrong with doing what you just said, like rotating them. What happens when you don't? But that's because I contacted Lyme disease 4 years ago that not a lot of people know about, almost died. And I was misdiagnosed. They insisted that I didn't have Lyme disease, but in fact that I did. And I had it really bad. And it has been, I'm still working with a naturopath. And I'm on some, antiparasitics and things like that. And I'm really careful with my gut now. But I would have to say what helps me the most is Phyto Synergy. And if I don't take it for long periods of time, I can start to feel that I'm not at my best, or I'm not at my prime. And I think that's for the same thing, because some diseases that we get and some diseases that animals get are very cellular. They creep into they can become very invasive in our muscles and our cells and whatever. And I think my good friend Leith always says it's cell to cell nutrition, or it's cell to cell. Phytoplankton works cell to cell. And I find that that's one of the best ways to describe it, is that it doesn't have to do anything to support your cellular health. And without cellular health, you don't have much. So, yeah, I can honestly say, I think it saved my life. And, I'm very lucky because I had it really bad and I don't hardly have any symptoms now at all. But I do get tired if I don't take it. I work a lot. So, but maybe I should just sleep and not take phytoplankton. But no, I know when I haven't taken it for sure. So I look at it as a food. And if you're healthy and you want to be, is that the cat in the bathroom? Yes, they can probably hear it. It's scratching. Can they hear it scratching? Anyways. But they can rotate it and they can give it a break. Yeah, you can do 3 weeks on, a week off, 2 weeks off, whatever.
Perfect. Yeah, I love it. I love the taste too.
You do? Oh,
I love
it. I don't, it's so weird. I don't there's some people that do. My cat, that kitten
loves it.
Oh my God. I'll put it on my hand. She licks it right off my hand.
Yeah, I love it.
And then my hand smells like stinky kitty breath and swamp water.
All right.
It licks my face and yeah, it's lovely.
So here's maybe one more before we log out here.
Okay.
Carol, she says, first and foremost, thanks for doing this. I have an 11-year-old spayed border collie. She's been throwing up yellow bile every 2 to 3 days for the last month or so. Great otherwise, running, eating, not displaying any symptoms of being ill. She's been to the vet and no issue with the blood work. We started her on gut soothe last week and liver tonic yesterday. The vet suggested it could be something in her stomach, so suggested an x-ray and if required, an ultrasound. What do you think's the best path moving forward?
Has the gut soothe helped at all?
Carol, are you still with us? Yeah, I'm going to give you the mic if you'd like. Hi,
Yes,
Carol.
yes, I have not seen any improvement with the gut soothe.
So she's still vomiting.
She is.
Yeah, I would definitely be doing an x-ray and an ultrasound.
Okay, is there any other things that you would suggest that she could take?
How often is she throwing up?
Well, we've been keeping a record of it since about the 1st of February and it rotates. It could be every 3 days. It could be every day. She just throws up bile twice, immediately wants to eat, displaying no issues, no affect at all.
Yeah, if you can, I would almost go straight to an ultrasound.
Okay.
And there's no changes in her pancreas or in her liver enzymes or anything.
No, everything was super for an 11-year-old dog. The vet was very impressed. Absolutely nothing showed up.
Yeah, so maybe he's thinking that she might have an obstruction, is he?
She's thinking that there might be something rolling around in there, and she was suggesting to take her. I live in Prince Edward Island, so she was suggesting take her to the vet call for an ultrasound.
I would. They're
Okay.
amazing there. That's where my horse just came from. I have to sing their praise. They're probably one of the best vet universities I've ever worked with. They were amazing. I had to take one of my rescue horses up there to have his eye removed, and it was unbelievable how amazing they were. I spoke to 5 different vets, from internal medicine, the surgeon. They were so nice and so open. And this pony, being one of my horses, or one of my rescue horses, went up with 3 big those big Tupperware things, you know, like those, what are they called? Like storage things. 3 of them full of supplements and remedies and different kinds of nutritional supplements. And they gave, and I sent them a list. They called me, they gave every single solitary thing. They never, I told them everything that it was. They were totally on board with everything. They were great with him. They did an incredible job. I couldn't say anything negative. I sing their praise. So if you have a dog with that, one of the small animal vets there is a friend of mine. Her name is Danielle Thibault, and she's a small animal vet there. She's phenomenal.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just take her right in and just say what's going on. I wouldn't wait long.
Okay. Is there anything else you would recommend from your folks' protocol? She's only been on the gut soothe for about a week, so there certainly hasn't been much change.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying I think that I would agree with your vet. I think there's something in there. So my suggestion would be get it out or find out what it is. You know,
Okay.
and then if it is something pathological, right? Like more like disease related, you know, if she's got a tumor on her pancreas, or she's got, you know, she has a tumor or something like that, which is always possible. Then our turkey tail and our Phyto Synergy and all of, you know, all of the things that are going to support her being able to derail that stuff. That's a different thing, but I can't stress enough. If that was my dog, I would try to have her in by yesterday.
Okay. We'll do that tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you so
luck.
much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Oh, whoops. Before we take off here, there's a ton of questions unanswered, Julie, and I'm sorry for everyone that we didn't get to. Like we do our best to get through these questions. I want everyone to know we have an amazing customer success team. There's 4 ladies that work tirelessly to find resources, point you in the right direction, send you to blogs, product recommendations. Please email our team. The email is questions, it's plural, questions@adoredbeast.com. I'll put it in the chat. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And then there's another thing. We also have a Facebook community where I hang out there every day. If there's something I'm struggling to give a hand with or resources for, well, then I tag our product specialist, and then she jumps in and can give you a hand. This Facebook community that we have is a really awesome resource as well. And it's also crowdsourced from other community members who have either been down that road and can share their insights. I mean, it's priceless. If you use Facebook, please do join us there as well, because it's super helpful. Thanks, Peter, for putting the link there. And hopefully we can chat with you tomorrow. But if we didn't get to your question, my apologies. Please email our team.
I always wonder how we're going to do that.
Oh, Julie, I hate to say it, but it almost keeps getting harder and harder to do.
I know. I follow someone that is a sort of a spiritual guy, and he does something now that I think is really awesome, where he gets over, like, he gets so many questions, and then he tries to look at them and compile them all into maybe 4 answers, like something like he reads them all, and then he does a video on kind of bringing all of them together. He tries to bring them all together. I mean, they're not for sick or whatever animals, but they're more spiritual questions. But you know, sometimes I think maybe I could do something like that.
If we compile questions before the session?
No, like if there was a way of keeping the questions, right? Like the questions that we still have, like all these other questions, then maybe there's a way we could go through them, right? Until like the next AJA, go through some of them and then do a video where we kind of bring all the questions and have like, you know, if there's still 50 questions, we might have 6 answers or 6 topics that would answer those questions or help with those questions.
I love that idea.
We can
I love
talk
that
about
idea.
it. Remind me though.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next month. Same time, same place for April. Ask Julie anything.
See you later. Thank you so
Bye.
much.